Hello. Tonight I'm going to talk about, or this morning rather, it's about 5 or 6 in the morning here. I'm going to talk about um, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, um, psychotic, and anxiety. These are all diagnoses that I've been diagnosed with. Oh, paranoid schizophrenia, schizoaffective. These are all diagnoses that I've been diagnosed with over the past 6 years. Um, and I've been living with them and taking meds. Around 2007, when I was still prospering, still growing and thriving with my ex. Um, I started to hear voices coming out of the sky. A lot of schizophrenics say that they hear voices in their head. Well, I hear voices in the atmosphere and I see visions. So around 2007, I started hearing voices. And at first, it started saying things like, hey, over and over again. I thought it was the neighbors because the neighborhood was rowdy. But I noticed that wherever I went, I heard the same thing. So I realized that I was hearing voices. Um, then they started saying other things, screaming things, looking like they want to get violent in the sky. So, um, I ignored it and went on about my life for a long time, all the way up until 2011 when I had my daughter. After I had my daughter, the doctors started asking me, was I hearing voices? And I said no, because I didn't want them to know I was not because I wasn't hearing voices in my head. I was hearing voices coming out the sky, so that could be God. Um, so finally in 2012, um, I was petitioned to go to the hospital by my mom. She said I was hearing voices. She said my behavior was erratic and that I need to go to the hospital. So the police came and got me and put me in the back seat of a police car and took me to the hospital. I had to go. It was against my will. Um so I went to receiving hospital and they kept me there about a day to evaluate me. And at receiving, you can't get up out the bed. You have to stay in the bed at receiving, or they will tie you to the bed. So I saw a lot of people get tied to the bed. Um, People getting injections, people getting meds. All they do is lay there. They don't look like they're well enough to get up. Some of them get up and use the phone, but they don't look like they're well enough to, you know, be on their feet. So I just looked around and watched TV and ate and stuff like that. But I really wanted to get up and go somewhere because I was there against my will. So from receiving, they came and got me and took me to Havenwick Hospital. They put me on a stretcher, put a neck brace on me, tied me down to the stretcher, and put a blanket on me like I had just got in a car accident, or like like I was bleeding or something. So they took me to Havenwick Hospital, which is in Auburn Hills. Now Havenwick is a big, beautiful mental hospital, and I stayed there for 1 month. So when I came home, I was heavily medicated and I was adjusting to the medications. So I stayed out of the hospital a while. Since then, I've been to the hospital about 4 more times. Um, but right now, I'm on Abilify shots and I'm doing pretty good. I'm still pretty sleepy, but I'm able to go to school and be there all day and study and get my homework done, and raise my daughter, cook and, clean her clothes and stuff like that and take care of her. So, and now I am again pregnant again. So I look forward to more children. But being paranoid schizophrenic doesn't stop me from doing anything. It just makes people think it does. It makes people think it stops you from being a mom. It makes people think it stops you from going to work. It makes people think it stops you from doing all these things, but it really doesn't, especially if you're not really crazy like I'm not. So, or mentally ill. I'm not mentally ill. I just go along with this. If you do things outside of what other people do, people will start to call you crazy. So you have to be careful with that. But I'm willing to take on that challenge. I do receive Social Security disability, and the only way you can receive that is if you work for it and they deducted it from your check. So I worked since I was 16 years old. So they deducted a lot from my check, so they're able to give me some money back. And I do appreciate that. It helps. Um and But when I graduate from college, I'm in the university um in Midtown Detroit, Wayne State. I look forward to working as a social worker, maybe at the Department of Health and Human Service or at a school, probably not a hospital because I smoke. They won't hire smokers. So I don't feel like being bothered with the hospital. I'm not going to stop smoking because of that. Um, but I look forward to working again. I look forward to graduation. And I look forward to these 2 years of my bachelor's degree. And I do have one degree already in science, associate's degree. So I look forward to adding more degrees. And this paranoid schizophrenia deal is not going to hinder me from getting anything I want out of life. So thank you for listening to my video. And I hope you watch again. Okay, bye-bye.